Okay, movie reviews are back, and I'm very pleased to tell you that X-Men First Class is a great return to form, and this franchise has successfully rebounded after the lamentable 1-2 punch of X3 and Wolverine. In fact, in my opinion, this is probably the best X-Men movie so far. And that surprised me, because I went into this with kind of a negative attitude about the whole thing. It's a franchise reboot, and I knew certain things were going to be different, and I was kind of nervous about that because I thought the Bryan Singer movies nailed it really well. But this movie holds up, and in a lot of ways it is better than those first two movies. But that's not to say that things aren't different. The big question comic fans always ask when Hollywood does one of these is, did they change anything? Did they change stuff from the comics that didn't need to be changed? And yeah, there's a lot of that. Sebastian Shaw is different. He has similarities to the comic version, but they definitely made some changes there, especially with his powers. And Mystique has a totally different backstory. Moira McTaggart completely changed. She's not even Scottish anymore. She's American. And Banshee, he's American. Why didn't they just give him an Irish accent? I don't know. There's plenty of stuff like that, and yes, it's annoying. Also annoying are some really weird roster choices they made. I mean, they've got very minor characters in there, like Angel Salvador and Darwin, even Azazel. Azazel, who was a one-off villain from the atrocious Chuck Austin run on the comics, which most fans probably wish they could just retcon out of existence forever. They use characters like these, but not classic characters like Colossus or Nightcrawler, or even some of the more recognizable villains like Avalanche or even Frenzy or someone like that. Azazel? Really? I mean, I get that they wanted to use new characters, but come on, man, you can do better than that. So that stuff did kind of bother me, but really, in the grand scheme of things, these are very minor issues compared to all the really important stuff that they could have gotten horribly wrong but didn't. Like what they did to Deadpool in the Wolverine movie, there's none of that here. Even characters that have been changed are at least somewhat recognizable. The important stuff is there. They understand the X-Men and what makes the franchise work. It's an allegory for intolerance and prejudice, basically, with a Martin Luther King type leading one side and a Malcolm X type leading the other side, and neither of them are completely right or completely wrong. And that's what this movie is really about. It's about Xavier and Magneto and how they became what they became. I mean, that's the core of the story that everything revolves around, and it really does work. And James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are great in these roles, and this movie really delves into the Xavier-Magneto relationship and examines these characters far better and in much greater depth than any of the previous films. The movie really does focus on those two guys, and if I have one complaint, it's that they're so central to everything that's going on that some of the other characters don't get much attention. And not all of them. Mystique probably has the second biggest part after the two leads, but Havoc and Banshee don't really have a lot to do. And sadly, the biggest victim here is Emma Frost. They don't do nearly enough with her. And I know it's not her movie, but she's one of the best characters in the X-Men universe and one of the biggest characters these days, but here, she's not much more than a blonde telepath in lingerie, and while that was very nice to look at, it still kind of bummed me out. Hopefully they'll expand her role if they do more of these movies. But it is an ensemble, first and foremost. There's a lot of characters to juggle, and just about everyone gets developed in some way, shape, or form. They even throw in two really cool cameos that I'm not going to spoil, and I have to say, it was very nice to finally get an X-Men movie that's not really a Wolverine movie guest starring the X-Men. You know what I'm talking about. The acting is pretty strong. This one probably has the best performances out of all four of these movies. The action is fine. I could have used a little more action, but it's well done for the most part. The special effects are much improved from Wolverine, thankfully. The pacing is solid, a little slow in the beginning admittedly, but it picks up. And most importantly of all, they don't rape the source material. The essence of X-Men is there. It might look a little different at first glance, but they got it right. As a franchise reboot, this works. It's a very surprising movie, and there's a lot of stuff to enjoy here. They gave Matthew Vaughn the ball, and he ran with it. Good job, Mr. Vaughn. Now, please hurry up and get to work on Kick-Ass 2. So if you're still pissed about X-Men 3, if you're still pissed about Wolverine, and I don't blame you, I encourage you to give this franchise another shot. Check out First Class. I give it my seal of approval. Peace out.